Hey, Joshua Taylor coming to you here. I want to do a short teaching about the bride. And is the bride going to be here or not? Is the bride going to be raptured out? Or is she going to be preserved? Who is the bride? You know, if you ever listen to David Terrell, God's prophet to the world, he'd be the foremost authority on what God is doing, because he is a world prophet. He's not a prophet for America or this country or that country. He's a prophet for the world. You know, God is going to show him things in advance of showing anybody else. All right? And he's been doing this for 50 years. As far as my understanding, the bride's going to be here. God is not going to take the bride out of tribulation. She will be here. She will be protected and brought through. All right? Revelations 12:5. It talks about the man-child, the male child coming forth. This is not Jesus, but in a way, it is Jesus. Do you understand? It's not Jesus back in the time of the New Testament, but it is Jesus coming forth in a man-child people. These are the ones that are birthed out of the dispensation of the church, that the church woman brings forth the male child to be birthed. This is what happened to me back in 1993 when God called a sister in the Lord by the name of Judith to stand in the gap and pray for me that a man shall be birthed in me, right? And that took place. That birth happened years ago. And then it was put on hold. But, you know, God brings forth the man-child first. And then, when the beast rises up out of the sea, that the church woman, or the remnant bride, right? The remnant bride, God's going to bring to the places of refuge in the wilderness to be protected and fed for 3.5 years. The man-child represents the head of Jesus. Jesus is the head. We're the body, right? But Jesus is going to have a headship ministry that he's going to raise up in the earth. In the same way that the Apostle Paul, he represented the head of the church in his day. But overall, Jesus is the head, you understand? A lot of churches, they don't have this revelation. A lot of churches, they don't walk in the revelation of the word. They don't have the understanding. A lot of churches are, you know, they're raised up with lies and deception, and they don't see the truth, not all. And but we have to learn to walk in discernment, because the Spirit and the Word do agree. So the bride will go through tribulation, but God's going to prepare places of safety, refuge places, blessed areas, in which the head's going to be joined to the body. That's a revelation in itself. God's going to raise up the man-child company, and they're going to give the woman the hidden manna of the Word. The man-child will have the hidden manna, the heaven revelation of Jesus Christ. They will be Jesus walking in the flesh. You understand what I'm saying? God's raising up a people, this man-child company, who will be Jesus walking in mortal flesh. That is the revelation. And God's going to use this man-child company to feed the bride, to raise her up, to bring her into the 100-fold, into the fullness of God, right? This is the union that Jesus is preparing, right? And God's going to protect his bride. And his bride's going to make herself ready, pure, and without spot. You know? She's going to be pure spiritually. There's going to be nothing that's spiritually impure in her. She's going to be fed the revelation of the truth. And this is going to make her white and ready to be united to Jesus. And the man-child company and the bride are going to walk in a special union. There's going to be a spiritual union there, right? It's not going to be a sexual one, but there's going to be a special union between the man-child company, the order of Melchizedek, or however you see it, and the bride. That they're going to be joined as one. So when Jesus comes back at the end, after the tribulation, he's going to have a people that's going to be as he is. They're going to be, their mortal flesh will be changed, right? And there will be a people that will walk in the Spirit, that will come to the place where they will walk in the Spirit and not fulfill the desires of the flesh. That God is bringing forth the people where they're going to have a change of heart. He's going to take out of them the old order of the fallen nature and put in them his nature. Sin will be done away with in this new created order. And that's who Jesus is coming back for. He's coming back for a bride that has been changed into his likeness and into his image. This is not salvation. This is not the start of the journey. This is the finish of the journey. That God's going to have a people that's going to be perfected in righteousness. That's going to be washed in the blood. Who are going to be walking in the Spirit, his Spirit, and not be pulled down by the ways of the flesh. They're going to have a new nature in them. Before Jesus comes, there will be a people that will be walking in immortality, in the fullness of the resurrected power of the Lord. A lot of people don't have this understanding, but Jesus is coming back for a bride that's going to be pure and without spot. And the God's raising up the man-child company to perfect, to get the bride ready. All right? And those who don't make the grade, talks about in Revelations, the devil goes after the seed of the woman. Right? Goes after the church, the 60-fold order, who hasn't made it into the 100-fold. You know, there's 30, 60, and 100. Brass, silver, and gold. And Jesus is coming back for the gold. He's coming back for the silver too. And unless God's given you this revelation, you're not going to understand it. You know. But God is preparing the places of refuge as a place to prepare his bride to be raised up in his resurrection power and by the hidden manna. Right? It's not going to be for all the church. It's just the tithe. Just the tithe. Because all his church is not going to walk in the fullness. Just the tithe. Okay, I'm going to get this out. Pray about it. And maybe the Lord will give you understanding in this. The bride is going to go through tribulation. The bride is going to be here in the places of refuge. These places are going to be divinely covered by the hand of the Father. And no, the judgment of God is not going to be on these places, but it will be in the rest of the world. God's going to protect his own and preserve them through these coming days of tribulation. We're not going nowhere. We're going to overcome. We're going to learn to walk in faith and not fear death. Not be afraid to lay down our lives, even as Jesus did. This is Joshua Taylor coming to you from here in North Bend, British Columbia, Canada.